enemy is already underneath your feet. You remind yourself you have already been given the victory. You remind yourself that 2 Corinthians 3 says that you have already been made competent by the Spirit of God. You remind yourself there's no guilt, no shame that should be resting on the shoulders of a daughter or a son of Christ Jesus. You remind yourself of all that you are in Him and what He has entrusted to you. It is the exact same reason I will tell you why I stand in front of my boys pretty much every morning. They know exactly what I want to do because I say to them, come on, look Mama in my eyes. And they look at me in my eyes and they know what's getting ready to happen. So they go, and I say, stand up straight, look at me in my eyes. And I say to them, you are men of integrity and character and honesty. You will be a blessing to your teachers today. You will be a blessing to your friends. You will bless the Lord at all times, and His praises will continually be in your mouth. You will put on the full armor of God so that you can stand firm against the schemes of the devil. I say to them that you are the head, you are not the tail. You are above, you are not beneath. You are a leader, you are not a follower. And you will grow up and be a warrior man for God, or I will spank you. And you know, sometimes when I'm saying that to them, they repeat pockets of it back to me begrudgingly. I'm a man of integrity, character, and honesty. I will bless the Lord at all times. But the fact that they can say it back.
Right. Amen.
What do we need to say to ourselves till we change our own mind? And so Jesus says to the disciples the same thing that by God's Spirit He says to anybody tonight who is surrounded by a multitude you've been trying to get away from. He says in verse 13, you give them something to eat. You have the resources to nourish this difficulty, this problem, this issue that is in your life. Don't send it away. If you send it away, you're going to send away the very gift that I have given you so that you get to see what's in your drawer. You give them something to eat. Take out what you do have. Moses, I know it's just a rod, but it's not just a rod because you're also going to be accompanied by I am who I am. Abraham and Sarah, I know if you just have your little ailing, aging bodies, I know that, but you don't just have those bodies, you have a promise straight from heaven. What is it that you do have? Entrust that to Him and see how He intends to multiply it so that you are able to be the nourishing solution to that emotional issue that has arisen in one of your relationships. You be the gift of love that that person is looking for. You bring the resolution to that breach that is in need. You be the carrier of God's Spirit that God has saved you to be. What, Jesus, from this? All I got is 5 loaves and 2 fish of energy, 5 loaves and 2 fish of patience, 5 loaves and 2 fish of success or money or skill or training or creativity. But the reality is that if He has called you to it, He hasn't called you.
Amen.
If 5 loaves and 2 fish is all you have, 5 loaves and 2 fish is all you have.
That's right. Amen.
And not only is it all you need, but when you allow it to be used by God, you will find that the experience you have with God was the best retreat you could have ever taken. That's right. That there's no nap that gives you refreshing like that. There's no meal you could have eaten. There's no retreat you could have taken. There is no nap you could have rested in. There's no conversation you could have had that sustains you and satisfies you and fills you up the way it does. When God takes your little bit, multiplies it, and you see Him work a miracle in your life. Do you know why Alicia is such a blessing? Because she does not say, this is what I don't have. She says, God, I'm going to take this messy, crumpled mess, and I'm going to give does with Alicia the same thing he does to the disciples. He takes the 5 loaves and 2 fish, and lifting it up to heaven, he blesses it. And then he breaks it. And then he distributes it back to you in bite-sized pieces, all of them, filled with divine favor and anointing, so that every time you give one of them out, it's not just a piece. It is carried on the wings of God's Spirit to accomplish more than you could have accomplished with it in your own strength and power. And it says that when Jesus multiplied it, I gotta tell y'all something. Before he gave it to them, he told them to recline. He told them to recline on the green grass. Luke chapter 9 doesn't tell you it was green grass. It's Mark chapter 6, the layer that tells us where they reclined was green grass. This was the same place that the disciples said was desolate. Desolate implies there is no hope for life.
Right.
Desolate implies there is nothing brimming with life or the possibility that there can be something beautiful to come out of these ashes. But in reality, they saw as desolate, as something that was really brimming with the possibilities of what could flourish in that environment. There was green grass all around, and just to make sure they knew, Jesus said, before you feed these people, you have them sit down in that which is representative of what I am capable of doing, even at the most desolate places. Oh, there's some green grass around you. There's some green grass around me that we have been so blinded to. We feel like we're in a desolate place where not only do we not have the resources, but we're not even in a position to get them. It's just desolate and barren and dry around us. But probably, if we'll just take a closer look, there are sprouts of his grace and sprouts of his glory and sightings of his favor, and it's brimming with his grace all around us. And he did not just tell them to sit down in it, y'all. He told them to recline in the grass. In the Jewish culture, people sat down at the table to eat. Sitting position was how you ate. But it wasn't until the Greco-Roman culture took over that people began to recline at the table. They reclined in anticipation of a banquet. So sitting is what you did when it was going to be a regular meal. Reclining is what you did when you knew that they were about to roll out one of them lavish feasts where the food kept on going and going and going. Jesus said, don't sit down. Go ahead and put yourself in a posture that anticipates that I'm getting ready to do exceedingly abundantly above and beyond. If you find one little bit of green grass around you, sit down in it and then let it be something you recline back in, as it reminds you that if I can brim even that bit of life into your circumstance, it tells you that you ought to recline, that you should not to our God. I should not to our God just bring a cup. You ought to go ahead and have a cup with a saucer under it, because when he fills up to overflowing. Just go ahead and let's position ourselves like we expect God's going to do something. So he takes the 5 loaves and 2 fish, he blesses them, he breaks them, he hands them out. In verse 17 wants us to get the breadth of the miracle that was accomplished, because it says that they all ate. They all ate. They were all satisfied. The tired, the exhausted, the depleted, hungry disciples too. They were satisfied. The refreshing they came looking for, that they did not think they were going to be able to get because of this crazy multitude. They left more satisfied and more filled because of it. In fact, it says that they had a lot of leftovers. Verse 17 says that the broken pieces which they had left over were picked up. And there were 12 baskets full. 12. One for each disciple. When you give your little bit to Jesus, you actually go home with more than you came.
Amen.
smack dab in the face of a multitude that you've been trying to pray away. There's no problem with praying that God will remove a scenario out of your life that really is taxing you. No problem with praying that. But tonight what I want to pray is that while He's still allowing you to be in it, that He would lift the veil from your eyes so that you can see the grass. And that you would go ahead and trust whatever little resources you do have left. That little bit of patience, that little bit of emotional energy, that little bit of finance, that little bit of gifts, talents, whatever, that you would go ahead and trust Him. And not hide it in a drawer, but open it up, take it out, submit it to Him, and then stand back in anticipation of what God will do. So if that's you and you need prayer, that God would open up your eyes and that you would have enough courage to give Him your 5 or 2. Would you just please raise your hand so I can pray for you this morning? Lord, starting up here with me on this platform, all the way to the furthest reaches of this room, your daughters are raising their hands saying that, Lord, we want to see you move in our lives. Lord, we've been wishing away that which you have been welcoming. We have been wanting to get out of what you have put us in, possibly, Lord. And if there's some blessing for us in this thing, we don't want to miss it. So, Lord, I pray that you would open every eye of every woman that is in this room with her hand raised. Help us to see the gift that is tucked away in that multitude, Lord. Help us not to miss the green grass that is all around us, that are reminders of your grace and your glory despite the difficulty. And then, God, I'm going to ask that you would give us the courage. Would you give us the courage to recline, Lord, to trust that you are about to roll out a banquet feast of miracles around us, Lord. That you're going to multiply the little resources that we have and use them not only for your glory, but for our good.
Yes, God.
It is in anticipation of what you will do that tonight we say, amen.